everyone, welcome back to day 3 of Vlogmas 2021. Did I get the year right? Yeah, I sure did. Today I'm going to try and make this a little bit shorter. That's also the reason why I didn't do some kind of kitty related coffee making intro, because not so much time today. It is Friday, so Friday usually means that my workday most of the time is a little bit shorter, but then there is a lot of stuff to do before the weekend, because on the weekend itself I rather prefer to just sit down and craft and not be bothered by any kind of adult stuff like chores and grocery shopping and all that fun stuff. So let's try to be a bit time efficient today, she said, and then probably she went on talking for 20 minutes. Anyway, day 3. Yesterday I was talking about trying to talk about cross stitch today, and we are going to, because I managed what I set out to do and I finished the last drop of There Is No Planet B. So this was 2021's year-long stitch along by Clouds Factory. Clouds Factory is a designer for very cutesy cross stitch and also very pop culture-y cross stitch. So if you are a fan of something, she has probably done a pattern about it. The most recent one she released was Squid Game. So if you're interested in that, usually she does these little people that look very pill-shaped, if that is the correct word for that. But I actually liked her 2020 year-long stitch along a lot, which was Grimm's Fairy Tales. Was that 2020 or 2019? It was 2020, I think. Rachel from Rachel Ray Crafts is working on that one, for example. And I have the pattern, I have the floss, I have the fabric. But I decided sometime during the summer to get everything. And by then they were in like month 6 or 7 or whatever. So I did not start that project. I shelved it probably for next year, because next year I am planning not to do any active stitch alongs while they are running, but I have a couple I would like to do as one big project, and the Grimm's Fairy Tale might be one of them. But this is about the No Planet B, so let's stop about talking about Grimm's Fairy Tale. I've shown this on my floss tubes if I made any, so you have hopefully seen this before. Coloring is once again very atrocious. This is so much brighter and warmer than it shows on my screen right now. Maybe we shall do something in post-production, fancy word. And this is all endangered animals, all cute critters from all continents. Usually it was like 2 critters per month. Sometimes we had 3 too. So for example, this drop here was 1 drop, where we had the 2 birds and that little critter, and I've forgotten what that is. But it's just, this warmed my heart every single month except for month 11. Month 11 was the 2 birds here, the owl and the blue parrot. It's, I think, some kind of ara, and what do you say, ara in English? It's a parrot, a blue parrot. Because of the words. I think I've spoken before in my floss tubes how much I despise stitching letters and words. It is just not fun for me. I hate it with a passion. And actually, Rachel and I tease each other all the time because she actually likes stitching words. She thinks it's easier to count. I never miscount and misstitch as often as I do with words. I don't know why. My brain just doesn't want to do them. It thinks they are boring and dumb and stupid. And I have developed a very deep hatred for them by now. Whenever I can, I leave off the words. And I honestly debated to do it on this piece, but I thought it would probably be missing something. Yeah, it basically took me all of November to convince me to even start on this drop. And I think overall it took me 5 days to stitch. So usually these drops, but depending on how big they were, there were smaller and bigger ones, they took me between 1 and maybe 3 days to stitch. This took me 5 days, and I think I worked 3 days on the words alone. I just hated them. And I dreaded the last part because I knew there would be more words and I was afraid it would be this kind of font again. I was so happy to see part 12 on the first and see these words because they are so much prettier, so much more organic. I did not enjoy stitching them, but I enjoyed it much more than these words. And I have to say now that they are stitched out, this Planet B in this big blocky font really annoys me. It's here to stay. I'm not going to frog it, but I think design-wise, there would have been a better option than this. And that's not just my inner hater for words talking here. I think it's very in your face. That being said, the last drop just made my year. I mean, I had, like I said, except for part 11, I had so much fun with this stitch the whole year. It was just my jam. But this last drop with the koala and the red panda, oh my god. I just love these little critters. They are so adorable. And yeah, I think the piece was absolutely missing these two. I've been pretty good with this cross stitch. I do not think that I made any mistakes up until part 12. There are a few in there. I'm not going to tell you where they are. If you find them, you are gladly allowed to keep them forever and frame them and put them up on the wall. I am not holding you back on that. They are not bad. I just misplaced something, but I think I course corrected okay so that you don't actually notice what happened. There are two mistakes I did not intend in there, and then there's one I made on purpose to just balance it out again because it was a bit off. Let's just put it that way. So this was really enjoyable. Clouds Factory has announced that there is going to be a 2022 stitch along, but so far I've seen no information on that. So no idea what it's going to be about. I might purchase the pattern, but I'm not going to stitch it while it is running next year. I really want to break from the stitch-alongs. I think next year I'm going to do maybe the year of Barbara Anna, because I have so many Barbara Annas now in my stash and as PDFs, and I subscribe to Cross Stitch and Punch Needle magazine, or what is this called? Where she does a pattern every quarter. This magazine comes out once a quarter, so for a year, and she does one every quarter, and every single time I see it and want to stitch it. And I've purchased multiple of her stitch alongs this year, all the Dream Girls. I haven't done anything yet because I was so involved in these monthly stitch alongs. So I think next year I'm going to work on my whips. I am going to start a chatelaine at the beginning of the year, which is kind of frightening. And for the rest, I'm going to probably focus on Barbara Anna and probably also Owl Forest, because I've an insane amount of Owl Forest kits and have not done as many as I would have liked, again for the same reason, because usually I enjoy stitching them very much and I work my way through them kind of quickly. Well, I've so far only done small ones and middle-sized ones, so I have not touched the bigger ones yet, the more involved ones, but I assume they are going to be just as much fun. That being said, this is now an FO, a finished object, if this is something you have never heard before. As of right now, I have no idea what I want to do with this piece. I don't know if I want to frame it or if I would like to turn this into a pillow. So it's just going to go in the pile. By now it's starting to be a pile of unfinished cross-stitch projects that I have finished stitching. Let's see. But it's just, oh, I'm just so happy with that. I can't tell you how much time I've spent just looking at it. So, and since I spent a lot of time stitching yesterday, this literally took me all afternoon, all evening. I only put in roughly, I would say, 45 hours of knitting. So not much progress on on the shawl for my mom. I am a super slow stitcher, so 45 minutes, knitter, 45 minutes of knitting basically only amounts to one mohair stripe and one silk stripe, and that's the progress I made then since yesterday. I really, really, really love how these colors are playing with each other. I think this is going to be subtle but pretty in the end, because you have these little color pops. They are not in your face, but they are there, they are visible. So I think this is actually a very good color combination if you don't want to have a very colorful type of shawl. This is starting, as you can see, it's starting to curl here on the edge. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm actually waiting for it to curl on this side too, because in the pictures this always curled, so it's not doing it for me yet, but I guess it will maybe after blocking. I am not sure. But this is going to be a project I am going to take with me next week. And speaking of next week, my day started in the worst way ever. You might have heard that COVID numbers are rising a lot in, I guess, all over the world again. I don't know, I haven't followed the international numbers, but for sure in Europe. And we have seen a huge surge. And yesterday, the heads of states have come to a decision what they want to do moving forward, and they have released some new regulations. And basically my hotel for next week called this morning, first thing that happened after I logged in. I was literally logged in for 3 minutes when it happened, and told me they had to cancel my room because they were going to close on Monday due to the new regulations. Fun! So my company doesn't give us a very big budget on hotels. It's like I'm allowed to spend 80 euros a night. That sounds a lot, but it's actually not. And for a moment I thought, well, crap, because I was so happy that I found that hotel right between the main train station and the office I had to move and clear out. So that was very strategically planned. Because I didn't want to use public transport, so I can just walk the distance. It's not very far. And most of the hotels are actually on the other side of the train station in the inner city, and I did not want to be there for multiple reasons. Because the city I'm going to has one of the highest numbers we have here right now, which, yeah, everyone keeps telling me they shouldn't send me, but what are we supposed to do? There are deadlines. So yeah, I'm going to take this with me, and I hope that I'm going to get a lot done, because I am not going to leave my room for anything else than going into the office, do the work for the day, and then return back to the hotel. I will only be there for Monday afternoon and the whole day of Tuesday, and then on Wednesday morning I'm taking the first train back. But the train ride as such takes over 5 hours, so that's a working day in its own. If you're here for the first time and wondering about the yarn I'm using for this, the mohair is a Cowgirl Blues Kid Silk, and the color is called Sweet Dreams. Hope you can see that. And this yarn here, I think, is a German yarn, just because of the word garn instead of yarn. It's a Tussar Tweed Tussar Silk, and it doesn't have a color name. I think this is the color number. And it's a 100% silk. It's a very beautiful yarn. A very unusual texture. I've not worked with that before. All right, advent calendars, and then we are done. So let's look at the little bit of stitches. We remember first day was green. Second day was a minty blue, and it was called ice green because it just looked like Elsa's dress. So let's see what day 3 is. Ooh, yes. Now we're talking. This is pretty. I mentioned yesterday that she said her advent would be a combination of tonal, half-tonal, and variegated speckled yarn. So this is the first variegated speckled we have. I think it's really blurry. Just to show you why. Oh, it's actually looking better on camera. So subterranean, I did read that correctly. But the labels are always very blurry, so I always have a hard time reading the color names. This is so pretty. It has these orangey red speckles in here. Very, very pretty. This is going to look so good knit up. I have not decided which pattern to do with this yet, obviously, because I take 3 million years to decide. And then we have Nora Georgian. I am not unprepared today. I just didn't look up the name intentionally, because when I go to her blog and look up the name, I will automatically be spoiled on the yarn of the day. So I am going to open these and always put the name in as tags, because I'm going to look that up afterwards. Ooh, we have another very light colored speckled one. This one, this time the speckles are a bit more daring. A purple and a yellow. And I've seen the picture, she posts a picture on the blog each day showing the yarn of the day and then the name, and she's writing a crime story basically. So, you know, like asking us to look for clues and solving the mystery. And she also shows it is a habitation throw, I was right, she started it with that, and she shows the sections. And while on camera, day 1 and 2 didn't show a whole lot of difference for you probably. Knit together, it looked really good. So I am looking closely and I'm thinking about doing a habitation throw. But like I said, I'm not going to start a new project during the season. I will do it afterwards. So it's blue, purple, and yellow. I found some blue here. It's very pretty. And it's starting out very subtle, but I think we are going to see a few more bolder colors later on. All right, nearly 20 minutes, 17, good. I can't do short. I'm sorry. I'm just incapable. Oh, this is so pretty. Also, I'm very squirrel brained right now. The words are hard. So, once again, thank you for joining me for these each day. I am sorry that Lola once again decided it was more nap time than film time. Both kitties are out like a light. At least Nelly let me straighten up the couch now, and it doesn't look like it looked yesterday, which was kind of embarrassing. But anyway, I hope she will be back with me tomorrow for this video. I have to see when I will actually be able to film on the weekend, because the man will be here and I always have to kick him out of the office if I want to film. Let's see. It might probably once again be a bit of a shorter one. I am thinking about doing some kind of unboxing tomorrow, because I have a few patterns coming in I have ordered and they are supposed to be delivered tomorrow, and I purchased a few PDF patterns during Black Friday as well, so maybe we are going to do that. Let's see. Otherwise, I'm going to work today on stitching and knitting, and yeah, talk to you tomorrow. Bye.